Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Heard of him?
Welcome again, folks. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host. This has been a heck of a, was it several weeks now? But it's been a while since we've been on.
I got sick.
Gee whiz. I'm breaking it off a little bit and making it really community television. But the bottom line is that we've been out for quite some time. We've done the Christmas thing. We've done the first year thing. We've done a number of things.
I've been in the hospital.
So it's been very interesting. But anyway, but the bottom line is that we're back. We're back, and we're raring to go. We've got elections coming up.
Season.
Yeah, we've got elections coming up right now, and we're going to be having all sorts of candidates coming on board. And in fact, I'm going to probably be a candidate myself, and we're going to probably invite the other candidates who are running for my particular office. You're going to see some things. We're going to be doing some creative things, but we're going to try to get to you, the people who are running for office. We want to make sure we get as many of those individuals here so they can talk about the issues that you can relate to. And primarily, we're going to probably spend quite a bit of time here in the Multnomah County, Portland area. And naturally, we're going to try to get the governor involved in the process, and maybe Bureau of Labor, because that's another heavy issue. And maybe some congressional seat. We might be able to get a congressional seat in this business and out, whatever. And maybe the senatorial seat. You never know. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, we're going to do everything we can to get Oregon issues on the table. Again, that's exactly what the platform is of the Oregon Voter Digest. It's the Oregon Voters Digest. However, we're located here in the Portland metropolitan area, and Portland is kind of like the largest city, largest city in the county and the state.
You brought up about the governor. I'm not sure I'm going to vote for her.
So anyway, I got Jim here with me. I got Jim Whittenburg here with me, and you've seen Jim here before, but I thought I'd bring him on today. It was kind of a little accident. You say, okay, what was that now? You said
I'm not sure I'm going to vote for Kate. She was my state representative.
I'm at Kate Brown now. Okay, we got Kate Brown. Jim's jumping right up in there. Okay, for governor. We talk about governor. Let's talk about it.
She was my state senator.
Okay.
And she was my secretary of state. And I went to the retired served persons meeting down in Salem a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay.
And she said, she stood this far from me. And she never said hello.
She mean she didn't recognize you?
She recognized me. She just never said hello.
She didn't say hello to you?
You know, and I'm thinking, she's not asked for my vote yet. Wow. She doesn't get my vote unless she asks for it.
Well, she's having some tough times. Her reviews weren't so satisfying.
She's done an awful job.
Yeah, that's a tough job right now.
That's the toughest job in the world.
That's a tough job right now. And Kitzhaber is still hanging on.
He could handle it.
But that's at the table, though, too. Because his wife is still now, they brought her back to the table.
Well, if he hadn't got mixed up with her, he'd still be in office right now.
But they brought it. But in all due respect, they brought her back. So that's now another issue. And the ethics commission came out and changed it. Came up with a new finding, if you will.
Yeah.
And so that's going through the whole deliberation.
Well, he's just like so many of us. He's an old man who found a young woman, and she took him down. She took it down his governorship and his whole career and his lifetime. And I feel bad because, when Kitzhaber was an emergency room doctor in Roseburg, he treated my brother, took care of my brother for years down there.
Well, Jim, in all due respect, it's just being straight up, one you had run for office and then the idea of being elected, it's a thankless job.
Oh yeah.
And it's a thankless job, and it's a lonely job.
I would never want to be elected.
It's a tough job.
You couldn't pay me. You couldn't pay me $100,000 a year to be an elected official.
Elected official on any level.
Why would you want to listen to people's complaints all the time and then try and work through the bureaucracy to solve them? The bureaucracy is a terrible thing. They're telling me as a pharmacist that I can't. I have to fill a prescription for an addict who stands across the counter from me. And I said, I'm not going to give opioids to a damn addict. I shouldn't say that. A person is addicted. That's too bad. Why would I give drugs to them when they're addicted or dependent on drugs already? But by state law, I have to fill that damn prescription, or I lose my license. Now, what in the hell are we doing here in this state? And Kate Brown is got a task force now on opioids, and we're going to have a big battle down there because I've got all the pharmacists lined up on my side to go down there and tell her that we can't practice our profession adequately because of the state laws. I mean, it's just crazy.
Well, in fact, that's a good point. That'll be a good point because it's a major issue here in the Portland metropolitan area. I'm thinking about the needles now, right? But let's talk about, it's two areas here. That you've got the needles, and then we got the opioid. You know, the opioids are the pills. Those are the pills aspect
and you got
of
the
it.
traffic in this town.
But you got the needles, and I just happened to have gone to to one of the precinct meetings up in St. John, and parents were there, attendants, and they were talking about the needles. That was one of the problems, and I thought it was interesting because I had some interest in it because my wife and I owned a restaurant at Jansen Beach, and folks used to throw the needles out there on the deal and whatever. But you had kids and animals running around that deal.
Enlightened cities,
that's a tough situation.
Enlightened cities use their head for more than just to put their hat on. They hire some people, half a dozen of them, whose job is to go out and pick up these needles in parks or on the streets, and you don't see any needles in those cities. But this dumb town wants their policemen to go out and pick up these needles, and they have so much to do already. The policemen, they can't get to the needles too, but we're just too ignorant to understand.
But then at the same time, you being a pharmacist and whatever. But even handling used needles, that's a toughie.
Well, put gloves on.
But still, like I said, you got to put gloves on and this, that, and the other.
Well,
who would know? What about the kids, for instance? I mean, they're looking at shiny objects and this, that, and the other. They may pick it up and start doing this and this, that, and the other. Or animals. Animals can't pick up any gloves, right?
Well, this little girl that got stuck the other day on the Mac thing, she got set down and sat on a needle.
She's a kid.
And they don't know yet whether she's got picked up something for that needle.
And so I think, so anyway, as I was saying, I was at this meeting, and so naturally, in fact, Loretta Smith was there. That was a commissioner. My thing is that I figured when I filed to run for office, I want to know the job. So I've been just going around the district. But anyway, the bottom line is that I was listening to what they were making, and then I heard the parents talking about their kids in the yard. They had a location where they gave needles out. At their location, but then when the people get the needles and they come out, and then they just come into their yards and use the needles right there and then throw them right there in the yard.
The second thing, besides hiring somebody to pick up the needles, they need to get these people to bring back the used needle, so they can get a new one from the city. And that would solve the problem. We would solve the problem in 2 or 3 months. But we're just too stupid to think creatively in this town.
Well, let's think about that. I'm glad you brought the subject up because it's a stickler with me. I threw out a couple of things on the table. I said, well, look, we got the bottle bill. I mean, at one point in time, we used to have problems with the bottle, and then Tom McCall was the one. They got that stuff squared away, right?
Actually, it was.
Was it Tom? Was it
somebody
Tom?
Before him?
Was it Tom?
Straub and
but anyway, but in one of the governors,
I was practicing pharmacist.
Right. Okay. But the whole idea was that we don't have any problem with bottles now. We got locations, people pick them up, and they're gone up. They 10 cents a can, and this, that, and the other. So you don't have to worry about that. People and they make a couple of bucks, and they keep the place clean, keep the city, keep the state. My thought was, okay, fine. If you already got that piece up, put 10 cents or 25 cents on a needle, and then people will pick it up. And then they already got the facilities. Then you just put it in the deal.
You can't expect the police to go around.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
That's the stupidity of our city government.
That's too heavy. Then the other side, let me ask you. You're a pharmacist anyway. That was one of the things I threw out on the table. I said, let's do it that way. That was one. The other one was, hey, let's get rid of the needle. I said, well, the way I'm thinking, make a pill out of it. Why can't you make a pill?
Well, it's the problem of injecting the drug that they need. It does.
No, but why can't they take the same formula and put it in a pill?
Well, there's some reasons for that.
Why is that?
It's easier.
Since I got you here,
it's easier to inject it.
But hey, guess what it's causing though? It's causing all kinds of problems out here on the deal. So if that's the issue, the inconvenience, and in fact,
they'll get the needles, Bruce. They'll get them somewhere. If they have to use dirty needles, they'll use them. And I've been with the city and the Dr. Spray with the old clinic up here in 12th 12th Street, and they started giving out needles to them.
Right.
But if you didn't give them to them, they used the dirty needles, and then
but my point is that
then they got hepatitis. Then they got hepatitis.
Right, but take the
and
needles.
Then we got $1 million thing.
But take the needles out of the whole scenario.
My brother's dying right now of hepatitis.
Right.
Which he picked up when he was a young guy.
Needle. Okay.
He wasn't needles, but he got hepatitis.
Yeah, but I'm still going back to that same point.
Sure.
Let's get rid of the damn needles.
There's a way probably to do that I haven't thought about yet. But right now it's easier to get used needles than it is to use pills, which are destroyed.
I want them off there. I mean, the bottom line, you got kids, you got animals. I mean, they're just too dangerous. And then the used needles, and most of these needles, like right at the homeless situation we have right now, a lot of them are in the homeless community. You got my point? Now you could maybe get these guys.
But there's a lot of doctors and lawyers and pharmacists.
They use that too.
Use them too.
Well, they've been using it before.
Remember when they caught the pharmacist up there at the old St. Vincent Hospital and it was on the hill? He was snorting up cocaine. They caught him on camera. They front paged him. I thought, oh gosh, what a way to go to lose your license and go out of.
But in all due respect, that was one of the things
Sure,
I was going to talk to running for that position with the county. I was going to get rid of those needles, and then I thought about Nicholson. Remember Nicholson? Remember the Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack. Sure, and in that whole piece, he had to take the pill right there in the front of the deal. You get it in the cup. And you take it right there. Sure. That's another way of doing it. Maybe we can do it that way. You got my point. Don't give them, if you will, again, opioids. Don't give them a whole bottle of pills.
Addicted people basically do what is easiest for them to do.
And what's easy to get, whatever they give you and whatever they get, if you will.
What is easiest is to get needles and shoot up.
Okay.
And they use that all over Europe, and they do it.
Under my program, I'm getting rid of them. They got to go.
Okay.
Get rid of them.
The second thing is opioids.
Now, what about opioids?
Well, the
pharmaceuticals are big in that piece, but it's all about the money, is it not?
The culprits in this are two. Of course, illegal drugs. That's part of it.
Okay, illegal drugs. Okay.
But the second thing is manufacturers of pharmaceuticals. I've been dealing with these idiots for probably 50 years now, and they want to sell every damn pill they can. And so they'll never stop doing this until they're forced to stop doing it. They're crooks, thieves, and I hate to say it, but they have no conscience whatsoever. And they'll use every pill, they'll sell every pill they can sell. Now, the third bunch of people are doctors and pharmacists.
And they're getting paid in some cases.
Now what I've talked to Sharon Mirren about and the people in the legislature I just emailed this morning, they need to change the law so I can sit across the counter as a pharmacist and I can say, I'm sorry, my friend, but I don't think I want to give you any more opioids because I think you've had enough right now. What you need to do is to get to a drug counselor and try and get off of the drugs you're on, or you're going to die. You're going to be a dead man.
And you can't do that.
I can't do it now.
Really?
They won't allow me.
If you got the prescription, you got to give them
exactly.
And it's something. Wow.
I mean, can't anybody think long enough in this state to figure that out? I mean, you got a whole state full of brilliant people, and only the pharmacists understand this.
Well, some could be on the drugs themselves.
Well, it could be. I don't know.
I don't want to throw that out that way, but I'm going to be.
It's a frustration to me.
And we can't. We got a lot of folks on opioids.
Oh yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, they're dying every day here.
It's huge.
Jay Inslee up in Washington has told the legislature to come up with something to creatively deal with this problem, and Kate Brown has told them a task force to come up. You know what they're arguing about down there? What I heard the hearing I had on the phone, I listened to the whole hour hearing. They said try to figure out how they could make the most money on naloxone, which is to treat people after they've been addicted and died.
Exactly.
That's the wrong end. You start at the front of with people not getting on the damn drugs.
And if they're potent, in all due respect, if they're potent drugs, check this out. If they're potent drugs, go there and pick it up and take it right there. Take that one. Don't give them the whole bottle of pills.
That's one way to do it.
They'll drink all the dang pills at the same time. I'll sell them.
They used to do that with methadone.
I'll sell them. See, when they go up there to get it, maybe they can work something out with the pharmacists, if you will. Okay, just
they did years ago with codeine-containing cough syrups when they were over the counter.
Right.
We used to sell them by the handfuls to the addicts, and then we put that on
Did you?
On prescription.
On prescription.
I front page in the paper and said, "This is what we need to do." They're selling codeine-containing ulcers by the case.
Wow.
I see it in the parks.
Wow.
They're all filled full of bottles.
Wow.
Oh, that's what my pharmacist friends get mad at me then.
Wow.
They thought, what a.
Well, but something needs to be done. I mean, it's just tearing our society a big time.
The pharmacists are responsible for this right now. I'll say it right here now. Pharmacists are responsible.
Pharmacists are responsible.
If they told the state...
What about the manufacturers?
Well, they're all responsible. I'm saying pharmacists are...
One of them.
At the very end of the line, they dispense that drug, and if they didn't give it across the counter, a lot of it would be dealt with right now.
Take the little deal, the little cup, but take it right then and there. That's what
methadone was. They were giving that for years.
But were they doing it that way?
In pharmacies.
At the pharmacies. And they take it.
Pharmacists want to make money now. That's all they're in the business for, and I hate to see it. Back in my day, we were professionals. If a guy was addicted to drugs, we tried to get him off of them. If he needed help, we got out behind the counter and went out on the floor and helped him. We cared about our customers. These guys today, they sit behind a counter and never talk to you if they don't have to. They come out once in a while in a new prescription and tell you how to take it because they're required to by law. But most of them don't know how to talk to their patients.
Well, for those of you who are running, I mean, there you go. I mean, Jim is laying out. We've had this discussion. That is a major issue in the state. As a major issue in the county, a major issue in the city of Portland. So if you're running for office, if you're looking for something to talk to, a solution that you can maybe put on your platform, here's one for you. Check out the whole issue with opioids. It's huge. It's huge, and people are a lot of addicted folks and whatever. And those needles.
We're losing hundreds of people in the state
all
every
over
year.
the place, big time. That's another. Now another area that I think I'd like to throw on the table is the whole issue of homelessness. Let's do homelessness before we talk to housing, right? Because see, homelessness, when you are thinking about that takes a sort of a national perspective
if I brought
too.
This or not.
Okay, you got something on
We
there?
started working on this in MACG, the homeless and the affordable housing situation in 2002, 16 years ago. And we brought Homer Williams
Homer.
and the Portland Business Association to
that was the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce to St. Elizabeth's Church, and they promised us they'd meet with us again to help solve this affordable housing problem. We never saw them again. We never heard them and Katz and Sten. We never saw them again.
Well, one of the things that I think that folks get confused over, there are three different areas when you start thinking about it, the whole issue of housing. You've got home ownership, you've got affordable housing, normally the apartments and things of that nature, and you got shelter. You see, when you start thinking about the homeless folks right now on the streets and this, that, and the other, that's temporary stuff. They're just looking for shelter. That's a whole different ballgame. You can't mix shelter in low-income housing because sheltering meaning that you don't have the money. You got to be subsidized in way, shape, form. But you got to have some step.
You do know that affordable housing is not affordable.
Is not affordable.
They're building $1,500 and $2,000 a month apartments. The developers, and they're not building anything that I could afford. I couldn't afford to live in their apartments. The people in my building could never afford to live. They don't care about. They don't care about homeless people.
But that's why government needs to know this. A lot of times, people who are running for office are not looking at that piece. What can I do?
And I like Chloe Daly and stuff, but she's building apartments in the city that on my street there's 5 apartment buildings. None of them have a place for park their cars, and they all cost $1,500 a month to get into, which I could never afford to get into unless I borrowed from my brothers or something, or family. My family are wealthy, so I guess why I can do this is because they worked hard all their lives, and they now have their homes and plenty of money in the bank, and they can share with me if I need some. If I have my teeth out.
Right. But think about it now. How did we get there? See, the thing is, how did we get there?
We don't care.
That's right.
We don't
how
care.
did we get to that level where, like you said, it's just a don't care aspect of it? Because home ownership was a home ownership aspect of it. And then, like I said, you had apartments and this, that, and the other, and you could lease it. But the bottom line is that now all of a sudden we got this other entity, which is job related, whatever. But the sheltering, that's a whole different ballgame. And when I start seeing things in the sheltering, like okay, affordable housing. We're going to make a little A-frame deal, and we're going to put it in the backyard at 70, 80,000 bucks. So what happens when the person leaves?
These lousy crumb bums that are developers that are putting money in the city council's campaign contributions and the county commissioners' re-election campaigns. They don't care about the homeless people. They care about the middle class that can afford their apartments that they're building. And I just the Homer Williams part.
But again,
they should be in jail.
But how does that come about? That's legit, and that's by the law.
This I think
following the rules and the regs.
I think what they're doing is bribery. Do you know they put $1,500 into Mayor Wheeler's campaign, and they put $1,500 into Saltzman's campaign? Yeah. That should be bribery, not campaign contributions. They want something. They want something.
Well, anytime someone gives you some money, they want something in return.
Sure.
I mean, it's not something that's not. The point is that how do you deal with that?
I've never asked for anything. I've given out $2,000 or $3,000 probably. And I gave $500 to Mac G, and I gave $100 to Senator Merkley, but I've never asked him for anything. I don't want anything from him.
But let's talk about that in terms of, and again, we're trying to talk to candidates too. I mean, people who are interested in running for office. Maybe we can kind of come up with a whole new crop and start dealing with some of these issues. For instance, when you're talking about the money, you remember Dan Meek? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Well, Dan basically got I guess, what do you call it? A policy or something, legislation passed that capped it at $500 for the county.
That's contribution or something?
Yeah. Well, that's basically your max. That's the max per individual.
Mayor Potter only took $50. That was his cap.
Right. But $500, and it's my understanding that the county tabled it. In fact, they tabled it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They tabled it, and in fact, he's got a proposal now before the city council, before the city, that they cap it at $500. I'm trying to get Dan to come on and so he can share the rationale and the benefit.
The county commission right now, I don't know most of them. I'll tell you that. That's my disclaimer.
Right.
But there's only one person that I respect on there right now, and she's just got on the board.
Who's that?
It's Sharon Mirren. She's a doctor.
Oh, yeah,
she hasn't been there very long.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I know them all. Most of them. Yeah. And I don't know them real well. I know Kafori and I know Loretta Smith, but
well, two of them are running right now. Two of them are running right now, and that's the chair, Deborah Kafori and Loretta Smith. Well, but she's term limits out of that piece. But my point is that it'd be interesting to see just where.
You should check where they're getting their money to run. That's what the major thing is. If they're getting money from Tim Boyle, Dan Boyle? What's his name? Runs Columbia.
Boyle.
Boyle.
Right.
If they're getting money from the Portland Development Commission, I don't know, Portland, what's that, Chamber of Commerce. They're getting money from these business people. They're being bought. They're being bought right now. And they will have to give them something back in return.
But again, it's legal.
That's right.
It is legal, but like you said, we're talking to candidates, and these are some of the things you want to consider when you're running for office. That just like have this conversation, just like we are, get together, Meek or whatever, but start thinking about the impact. Of a community.
The campaign is a bribery thing.
So it is. So the idea is you got to figure out what impact is going to have to the environment, right?
Now back when we had Bud Clark and that group of people, it wasn't so bad back then. It wasn't as bad, but it still was going on. The minute that a businessman gives you money, he wants something in return.
Oh yeah, that's a natural phenomenon.
And then the newspapers, the Oregonian and the television stations, they should all be publicizing these campaign contributions because that's the bottom line to all of this. It's so basic. I don't understand how could they be missing this unless they wanted to miss it on purpose. Maybe they want to miss it on purpose so they can continue bribing their elected officials. I don't know.
But we do need those entities, if you will, to build buildings and things of that nature and develop it. There's a tax, there's a return, if you will, on those kinds of deals, and everybody's looking at the bottom line when they're building something anyway. You know what I'm saying? You got me? So it's an issue because even you can take that. What we're talking about right now, that's really where we are with the national perspective with Trump, right?
Before we get off of this, I really like Commissioner Fish. He's one of my friends. But he was responsible for giving the county, the city of Portland, $200 million. $200 million.
Wait a minute, how do you do that?
That public employees building next to the city hall, so they could go by and get their coffee across the street, or visit their agencies across the street. But $200 million to remodel that building, built 37 years ago, 47 years ago.
Right.
One of the newest buildings in Portland has to be remodeled because the bathrooms are leaking.
$200 million for refurbishment.
$200 million. I can't imagine how much money that is. I mean,
almost could build a brand new building, but not today. Well, at one point in time, you could have.
I had a conversation with Mayor Wheeler about that before he got elected to office. He told me he could build it for half of that amount of money, a brand new building. But it would be tearing it down and keeping them out of that building for a couple of years.
But they got a vacant building. You can always do something.
It's vacant now. But it's only going to be 6 months or so.
Well, I got you.
So that was the difference. And Mayor Wheeler has not said a peep about this since he got elected to office. And I like the mayor, but he's ambivalent about things.
I tell you what, we may have a lot to say about that piece. What we're going to do, we're going to try to maybe take a short break here. We're going to go on and take maybe a short break, and then we'll come back and then we can fill in those pieces with that deal. That okay with you?
Sure.
Okay. Again, I'm with Jim Whittenberg, and we're talking about i.e. politics and issues.
Not very opinionated.
Oh, that's very much so. We'll be right back, folks.
You are watching Oregon Voters Digest. This program can be seen again on these channels on these dates and times. Tell a friend.
Back, folks. Again, I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, and we're talking about the upcoming elections, big time. We just kind of like taking it one step at a time at this point in time. We're going to be talking to all sorts of candidates and folks who are aspiring to run, folks who are incumbents, if you will, and so anyway, and I've got Jim with me right here, Jim Whittenberger. And I've got him in Whittenburg.
And it's not like hamburgers. Whittenburg.
Isn't that Whittenburger?
No.
Whittenburg?
Yep.
Whittenburg, not burger.
Like a German city.
I thought you were a burger for a minute.
Wittenberg.
Wittenberg.
I've always had my name spelled
okay.
wrong.
All right. Good.
You take the county, I'll take the city.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Okay.
But right now, what we're going to do is that there's an event that's coming up that might be able to help some of you candidates that are maybe for first-time runners, and in some cases, if you're an incumbent and you're aspiring to go to another race or whatever, there's all kinds of new things. But there's a conference here that's going to be at the Tiger Embassy Tigert Embassy Suites, January the 27th at 9 a.m. And anyway, they're going to be talking about politics. And here's some of the categories they're going to be talking to. And again, 20 training sessions along 4 tracks will be offered throughout the day, a mix and match. And for instance, how to be an effective citizen lobbyist. Okay?
That's me.
Being an effective campaign volunteer. How about that?
Yeah,
Advancing school choice. Ooh, that's an interesting piece. Yeah. Countering attempts to silence speech. How about that? Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Okay. And then I'll go back and throw out some of the goodies under these major topics. They said how to lobby state legislators beginning, okay?
That's fun.
How to testify before public boards and committees.
Okay.
How to lobby state legislators, advancing a legislative agenda with social media. How to detect and avoid ethics law violations. Okay, being an effective campaign volunteer. Regulatory action training. Okay, supporting your campaign with social media. How to successfully circulate initiative petitions. Calling talk show radios and letters to the editors. Raising money for your campaign, and that's big, okay, and groups, and then it's going to be quite a gathering, if you will, and there's all sorts of people with some interesting background. I just happen to be one of them. I'm going to be one of the guys. Let me get this out of the way. Get this out of the way first. Yeah. With these guys. The gentleman that basically heads off the Western Liberty Network, and that's who's basically putting on this conference. The gentleman by the name of Richard Burke. Western Liberty Network. This is some of his background. 7 local elections. He's elected to office to date, but that's one of his hats he wears. A member of the state ethics board. How about that? That's good to know. Is a former candidate for governor, and has worked for AFP. That's interesting.
What's his name?
Richard Burke. Okay, and you got a number of representatives that are going to be there too. Mike Neerman, who's down south, District 54. In the Oregon House. Mike received WLN training in 2011. He went to this conference in 2011, and he's been in office since. How about that? He learned something. Yeah. He lives in Independence with his wife Deborah. Okay, and then there's Tim Knopp, I guess. Knopp, is a state senator from Bend who represents District 27. Yeah. He has 4 children, has been involved in civic life for decades, and is a small businessman. And here's a guy named runs the Oregon Voters Digest. Come in fourth in a recent race for Portland mayor, and is a leader with regards to senior veteran issues. Bruce Broussard, you know that guy?
I've heard of him.
And you heard? I think I heard about this guy. And then you got Scott Jurgensen. Again, he was a guy. He's been a regular here on Oregon Voters Digest. He's a former award-winning journalist. Has written 3 books. Is a former talk show host, and is now legislative chief of staff in the Oregon Senate. And then, boy, let me tell you, here's a heck of a guy. I know him real well. Greg Burnett runs an advertising media firm and is a social media expert who has worked on high-level campaigns for public office for over 15 years. Okay, and here's this Catherine Hickok, is a director of the Children's Scholarship Fund and has been with Cascade Policy Institute since 2005. She speaks and writes publicly on educational reform. So she got a lot of background. And this is the kind of people that you're going to be around, if you will, when you're going through all these kinds of, which is very important, you know what I'm saying? Saves you a lot of time and know when to do and when not to do. And then some of the featured speakers, and this is going to be interesting. Featured speakers include Stephen Moore of the Heritage Institute. How about that? Okay. Zach Hunt, director of the Center of Innovation and Technology at the American Legislative Exchange Council. Okay, I hope I pronounced his name right.
Washington?
Yep, in Washington. Okay. Bobby Jager of the Cascade Policy Institute, that's Bobby. And Noah Wall, Vice President of Advocacy of Freedom Works. Some cases, like I said, it may look like they're a conservative bunch of folks, but they know how to do it. That's the key. Remember that. You know, when you're trying to get wisdom, it's definitely nonpartisan. Because if you go in there thinking, well, it's going to be partisan, you got some problems.
If you're going to run for office, you got to do 2 things.
Yes.
You get up every morning.
Yes.
You hike, put your boots on.
Yes.
You tie them.
Yes.
And you get out and start working every single day.
Every
Saturday,
day.
Sunday,
every day. Sunday.
Monday.
Every day. It's a job.
The second thing you got to do is lower yourself to learn how to ask for money. I never could.
How do you do that?
I couldn't do
Let's
that.
give them a little more, but they got to go to the conference. We don't want them to do that now. You know
if I had the money, I'd run for office, but I wouldn't do it today. No, I wouldn't run for office. I didn't want to be in that position. I don't want to be.
Boy, it's so easy to get lost in that whole deal. You know what I mean? You could just lose
everything. If you go down and say
you're
one of 60 people, now what can you do down there unless you're the speaker? You know,
and you got to get the majority vote.
Or Williamson, who's the majority leader.
Well,
the rest of them are just running around in circles.
Right. I'll give you a good for instance. We're going to have quite a race here in the county. It just so happened I may be running for one of those seats, but the fact of the matter is that's just one of the seats. But the situation there is that if you're just one of those individuals, one of the four, but the fifth individual is the chair. And the chair pretty well has the total control and the power about what's said, what will be heard, the whole 9 yards. It has a major staff. But it just so happened here in Multnomah County, we just recently got through a situation that the chair in here in Multnomah County, and it's been all in the paper, so it's not something that's a secretive kind of a deal. But Chair Kafori, Deborah Kafori, who's the chair, went in sort of a heated discussion between her and Loretta Smith. And it's one thing to be out in your office and talking behind the doors, but when you're sitting in those chairs, when you're sitting in those chairs, you are representing the people, and it's not a personal thing. You can't do a personal thing. And anyway, it ended up, and it's all in the paper. You might want to just pick up the Tribune or Google the Tribune. You can Google Deborah Kafori, or you can Google Loretta Smith. And you can get all the lowdown, but what I'm saying is that she made a mistake and called her.
We all do it. We all do it.
Called her the B word.
I learned back when I was bagging groceries for Safeway, not to say run your big mouth off.
You got to really watch
because I learned right then that I can't say anything off color because someone's sitting there listening to me.
But you can do it.
But I was
you can do it behind your doors. You can do it behind your door. You can do it behind your door. I mean, I know a number of politicians who have done that.
I know it was.
But you can't do it up front in that seat.
This woman said, "Ain't," and I said, "Isn't." And her mother said, "Ain't." I said, "Ain't." That was the whole conversation.
And that's all the whole deal.
I never did that again.
But the point I'm bringing is that now you got two individuals that are running for office. One is running for city council, and that's Loretta Smith, because she's term limit out of that seat.
I'll talk about her.
And then you got Deborah Kafori, who's the chair, and she's running. Yeah, she's the incumbent, and she's running. So she's got about a year, and that's going to be on her resume while she's running. Right? You got me?
Yeah.
And so she's got to do something. And because I'm so close to the thing, they've had similar kinds of issues at the county, and it was kind of like institutional racism.
I worked,
remember that one?
I worked with her mother and her father, both of them.
Right.
You know, and
I've known that for years.
They knew that. They should.
I've known that for years.
But
but like I said, but just like you were saying, it's a tough job.
Oh yeah.
It's a tough job, and so things happen. But the bottom line, when they happen, you got to understand that becomes part of your resume. So that's what I'm saying about if you're interested in running for office, you need to realize that those holes are there.
You can't
and you can't avoid it. And it's not something you can just say, well, the day is gone and it's gone. No, it's not. It'll be there. And especially if you're running for office. If you're running for office, that means people are going to be asking you those questions.
You know, Deborah's husband.
And you got the media here, right? You got the media.
Deborah's husband should have told her that. Nick Blosser should have told her that.
Well, he probably. But hey, it happened. But to a certain degree, in all due respect, the way I look at it too, at the same time, sometimes a positive, a negative can be more positive than a positive. Understand what I'm saying?
Publicize
right? Because see, they've had issue with institutional racism because there was a woman that was head of the health department there. She was fired under the same kind of consequences, whatever, and then she was brought back on. It cost the county some. You remember that cost the county some $100 and some odd thousand dollars, and you got all kinds of people that are coming back now to the table, just thinking they can get money that way. So my point is that it's an issue, and then institutional racism aspect of it there now, and so now they're having to go back to the table to figure out what they can do. So it just some other things have come out of this as a result of that.
I can't imagine suing anybody at that level.
But hey, but that's what it is.
It's come down to these days.
And the public loses quite a bit.
Exactly. They steal from the public when they do that.
And when you start thinking about Multnomah County and their services that they are expected to serve, if you will, they really served a lot of the poor.
Well, just like recently, at the paper, they have paid out $659,000 to employees who've left the employ of the city of Portland.
Yeah.
659,000. I could live the rest of my life on that, and so could my brother and a couple of friends, and we could live in style. Now the taxpayers have to pay all that money. The taxpayers pay that money, not the people that fired them, Ted Wheeler or Amanda Fritz or she's my friend. I like.
But that's coming out of your pocket.
Exactly.
Taxpayers'
That's
money.
right. We pay it.
I might mention also too with Commissioner Loretta Smith, who's now she's term limits out of that seat. But again, some of her staffers, if you will, were coming to the table and collected.
Well, sure.
One word against the other right now, right?
I call it theft. THEFT.
Jesus Christ! I mean,
they should probably be prosecuted for theft of services. But
when you got two entities, one that's anti the other aspect of it, and the one who happens to be the anti may be the one that signs the check. They say, okay, let's go, right? You got me? So it's not an easy task. It's not an easy task on this whole issue of running for office. There's a lot of things that you have to go through.
My dad taught me two things when I was a kid. He was a Baptist churchgoer. He taught me not to lie, never lie. And the second thing is to drive so you can stop your car before you hit somebody.
Okay, but you said never lie. But in this business, in this business. In all due respect, what I'm saying, in all due respect, I see people lying all the time.
Sure.
And then they'll try to either find an attorney to counter whatever they said or whatever.
I could never be elected official because I don't lie. You have to lie to be elected official.
Well, then you can't run because
I don't want to run.
You can't run because
I really don't want to
you
run.
put in a position, if you will. So it's so easy to do sometimes.
I'd rather be a lobbyist. We're institutional knowledge. I've been around politics for 50 years now. And I remember when Terry Shrunk was mayor here in town, and when Governor Straub was in office in Salem. I mean, how many people remember that today? Probably 10% of the people, 20%. They don't even know the names, let alone what they did. They did some great things back then.
But I hear what you're saying. But you can really fall in those pit holes. I mean, what you can do once you get out of that seat that you're representing the public. And then a lot of times you can't almost get out of it because when you go back to the office, you're still an office holder, but it doesn't have the same ramification as opposed to getting in that seat.
Most people don't value honesty today. It's not a value to be an honest person. It's to win. To win, like some guy in public office today that wants to win all the time.
Right.
What's his name? He's back in Washington. I see him. He's
locally.
About some guy named Trump or something.
Oh yeah.
Wants to win all the time.
But again, that's a good point to talk about. Because in all due respect, you got a developer, a building developer, and you've got a politician. Two different worlds. Two different worlds. In terms of how they develop, the definition of a developer is that you got to put pieces together, right, to get something at the end of the day is done. In some cases, some people are successful at it. Some people go bankrupt at it. The whole 9 yards. But my point is that now there's this mixture of a person who's a developer and then the standing group are politicians. That's a tough nut.
I wouldn't want to vote for either one of them. So I didn't vote for either one.
But that's what the public said, and from the standpoint they want to clean the swamp. People are so frustrated, it's pathetic. So how do you work in that kind of environment where you got the public saying, I'm frustrated? I mean, taxes and this, that, and the other.
When you open your mouth, you've got to tell the truth. It's that simple. It's that simple of a thing to do. I mean, any moron could understand that. Don't lie. Well, if you lie, you start lying, you got to cover up this lie and cover up this lie and cover up this lie. You're covering up your lies all your life. That's what Donald Trump is doing. He's covering up his lies.
But it's not just Donald Trump.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying.
It's so easy because we've been bombarded with his name so much.
The Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate, they're all lying back there.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that's why the public is saying, clean the swamp.
I could name 3 or 4 people that aren't lying every time they open their mouth. Probably Bernie Sanders and Jeff Merkley of Oregon, and there must be some more back there in Washington that aren't lying. Mark Hatfield didn't lie very often. I never heard him lie, maybe one time. But Wayne Morris never used to lie. But people don't value that anymore.
Yeah, but at the same time, Jim, let's make it clear.
Yeah.
Today, our media, in many ways, to a politician, will lie on you. And then all they have to do is say, okay, fine, let's put it in the back page or whatever. Don't even say anything about it. You know
I wish I could trust.
I'm sorry.
I wish I could trust the news media. I'd really like to trust the Oregonian.
It's a tough nut.
But they want to sell newspapers and sell television time, and they put on shows. And the first thing they do is go after fires, and then car wrecks, and then shootings.
Yeah.
And way down at the very end of their program, they got a little time for decent things that have happened in the community. But this is what our news media degenerate into, and I hate to say it. I called up the station this morning and I commented them on doing a good story. He said, it's the first one I've heard this year. A really good story.
But on that same note, though, it's very, very important that you check your resume out. And check your resume out in regards to what's going on today. Now, this whole issue in regards to women issues. I mean, women. It's been a long time, from the standpoint of they're fighting for their rights and aspects.
You know what's going to happen, Bruce?
So now all of a sudden that's on the table. What do you think?
I've dated ladies for 50 years now, and I've probably dated 100 of them or so over the years. And I'm not going to date any more women. Because they may say that I did something off color, put my hand on their shoulder or on their knee, just thinking that you're talking to someone, and I may be lined up against the wall and shot pretty soon. They're cutting their own throats right now at this point, not in the beginning. The Weinsteins and those people who had rape and intercourse and that kind of stuff were problems. But now they're getting people for touching them on the shoulder, like Al Franken. Oh,
yeah,
what a
Franken,
mess.
US Senator.
Now they're going after Jeff Cruz.
Connors, they got Connors. They got. I mean, it doesn't matter about colors,
I worked for Conyers.
Did Conyers?
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
He got old. He was an old person.
He was a senior most person.
He was 85 years old.
And he got hit. He had to leave. He had to quit.
He did something stupid. He paid off a woman and with his campaign contribution.
But then you find out that the fact of the matter, they had a hidden pot of money that they could just draw upon whenever they want to if they had a problem.
Sure.
See, when you throw that out to the table, then it gets wider. Then people start saying, and then and when you start thinking about it too, Jim.
But pretty soon, women are not going to be able to get dates because the men are afraid to date them because they might bring in charges against them or expose them. That's going to happen. You wait and see.
But then there's
prominent men.
But,
I'm not talking about men.
But there's the birds and the bees. A male will always be attracted to a female,
I know,
and vice versa.
But
you think?
with the woman getting out here now, this Me Too business and the stuff which is happening, I think it's straddling that line right now where they're going to find themselves with overkill, and it's going to be a problem for them in the future. I've heard this, but many women have talked about this on television. It's not just me. I've just watched it. I agree with them that they've gone too far now. They're going too far, and they're going to be sorry.
Well,
in the future.
When then I tend to sort of relate it also.
I'm 80 years old, so I'm not dating me women.
But you think about the visuals that we see on TV now. The X-rated. Remember how we went through that whole deal? Sure. What is it? Was it P? Was it? And then there was X and all this other good stuff and triple X stuff like that. And then and look at how they tend to portray women.
Huh.
I mean, totally naked. Well, I mean, the whole 9 yards, the rape situation, all that's happening.
Listen to the language up there. I mean, words I never thought of using in my life are being spoken on TV now.
So maybe this might be a way of just coming back to the table and saying, we got to start, maybe do a little checking deal. We got to check this off now. What are we going to do? Kind of a deal.
Well, I just think people should use their own best judgment. They should know, they know what's right and wrong. Charles was Colbert's first name, the guy that's on the nighttime show. He knows what's right and wrong, but he gets laughs by using dirty words. And he's going to hurt himself in the long run. But that's just him. Bruce, could we talk just a minute about
what's that? What are you talking about? What's that?
About what I've been doing for the last 6 years.
Well, like what? Give me. I want to make sure that it's relevant to what we're talking about.
Well, I've written a book on politics. Yeah, on Oregon's politics from 1969. When I first went to Salem, I went down with Tom Hartung, and I've written forward on that up until a history of that whole time through politics, through initiative and petitions, and through elections that have gone on with Victor Etienne and Tom McCall. And I just finished. I just finished my first book.
Okay. What about a colorful one that we can make?
Well,
one of the governor that i.e. we're talking what we're talking about right now about running for office.
Yeah, running for office.
You got one?
Vic Etienne, probably.
Vic.
I went into.
Vic's a nice guy.
I liked Vic.
Give me somebody else.
He was my senator. He did a good thing.
How about Governor Neil Goldsmith?
I never knew Neil.
You never knew Neil?
Never knew him.
He has a very interesting background.
He just made he liked.
Now that was an issue there with
young women more than he liked to be in office.
Okay.
And it came back to bite him. He lost his last office on the Board of Education, I believe it was. The governor had appointed him, Kulongoski, because he got exposed to the public for what he'd done
several years ago.
Yep, with the 14.
So we're talking about the same thing, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You got me?
It's always gone on,
but this time
most politicians are smart enough to know that's off limits. That is not something you can do and say.
But my point is that I guess the point I'm making is
Packwood didn't, and
you get Packwood. Packwood was another aspect of it. But the point is that that happened during that particular time, but it didn't stop anybody.
Well, these are smart.
And people kept doing the same thing all over.
These are smart men who think that they can hoodwink the public with their smooth talking business. Like I knew Packwood, and he was a smart guy. But he thought he could do what he wanted to do, and
well, it's power.
Yeah.
It's power, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
And look at the Clinton. Look at Bill.
Yeah.
Look at Bill Clinton. He lied on TV.
Oh,
I mean, the live TV right there with the wife and this, that, and the other. I mean, okay, it looks like we got about another 2 or 3
anyway, my book will be out on Barnes and Noble.
Let's do that.
And Amazon, and that'll be out. And I started this morning on my.
What's the title?
I started A Danger to Himself and Others.
Danger to Himself and Others.
Right.
That's a political kind of a deal.
Right. It's all politics.
All politics, right?
My whole life's with politics.
Oh man, yeah, I know that.
I started this morning on my second book, which starts with Tom Potter's election to the mayorship, and with Randy Leonard losing office because of his family problems. And then third, the fact that in 2002, we knew in MACG, Metropolitan Alliance for Common Good, that affordable housing was a problem. And last year, the year before, they started doing something about it in Portland.
2002.
How long does it take politicians to figure out something? They had 15 years to figure this out. Yet they were too busy doing something else to deal with people's affordable housing, so we wouldn't have the homeless problem.
Right.
But many of us knew this was going to be an issue back when Sam Adams was in office, and back when.
But a lot of times it's like anything else. For you to resolve the issue, you have to have the background of the resume. If you don't have the resume that you were involved some way, shape, or form with that, you can forget it.
There's 3 things politicians have to do. 1, they have to provide clean drinking water. 2, they have to pave the streets and the sidewalks. And 3, they have to provide portable housing. All this other stuff is bull. It's bull. It's just both. It's satisfying the developers and satisfying the business.
So are you saying then that if you're thinking about running for city or county, what are you saying? You're saying you should have some of that involvement on your resume. Would you say?
Yeah,
right.
I did when I ran in 2004, but I dropped out. I got bored with it. But the city hall there's Dan Salzman is not going to run again. There are 3 people running for his office of major importance.
Yes, several of them. Yeah.
Is Joanne Hardesty, Loretta Smith,
right,
and Andrea Valeretta.
Yeah,
but she's from Peru. I didn't know that. She's a Peru.
Is that the one that's a member of Wheeler staff?
Yeah, exactly. I like her. I like her.
But why would she be running?
Because she's from Peru.
But is that something that Wheeler did? You think he might have imposed that?
I don't know. I don't.
Is she still working for him?
Yeah. Yeah. You can run for office if you're with somebody's staff. I mean, you're still.
They've got the inside track. See, that's the other thing about when you're running for office. You don't have access to what's going on in the internet. Who's going to share that with you?
You don't have the time that the other 2 candidates do because they don't have any jobs to do.
Yeah, but they may not have the time, but they don't have the insight.
Oh, there's no insight.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
there's not much insight.
The issues, they got the solutions, He's sitting right there with the mayor of the city.
Tom Reinhardt thinks he knows everything. He doesn't. He was in MACG years ago. And
I'm missing.
Nathan,
I'm still. How many more minutes have I got there? About 1, 2? 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Nathan and Michael
Can't see that.
Think they know everything. They don't.
Okay.
These people are 25-year-old kids.
Yeah.
30-year-old kids. I mean.
Well, Tim just hit another hot spot.
You
got to remember, you got to have some kind of background involvement. And
young people.
You got to really have some background. In fact, I've been running on a number of occasions aspect of it. But my point is that I've been able to get that experience, if you will. At least I have some idea of what's going on and how to put the pieces together. It's not easy. And today I feel comfortable with that. That's why I feel so comfortable about running for county chair.
I'm almost 80 years old. In the last 10 or 20 years, I've started to learn about politics. And I've been in it 55 years now.
Yeah, geez.
But it takes a long time to learn this stuff.
Wow.
I mean, I could name all the governors, and I could name all the mayors. And
takes time.
And I liked Vera Katz, but she wasn't the best of people. She was a bigot, and she was a racist, and I hate to say that, but she was. She treated me like dirt, like filthy dirt, just because I was a German, and she was a Jewish person. That's what I feel anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, that's some issues about.
She turned me over to the FBI once for robbing a bank. I was in Seattle. And she said I robbed a bank in Salem.
Oh my God!
It's just. The petty ad.
As you can see, we can probably go on and on.
Oh yeah,
on a number of the folks. But for you novice that are sitting out there thinking about wanting to run for office, you may want to consider going to this conference aspect of it. It's up in Tiger. You can Google the name Western Liberty Network. Western Liberty Network. I think it's at the bottom of the deal right now.
How much is that?
And I think it's he can't mention the numbers. Can't mention the numbers.
He can't?
No, he's not selling.
Oh, okay.
So, but the bottom line is that Google and you can get all the information you need, but you need to do something along that particular line. Okay. Well, with that, Jim, thank you very much. It's been great. We're opening the doors now. Yeah. When we come back here, it'll be about candidates and getting right down to that specific issue.
It's going to be fun.
Thank you very much.
It's going to be
fun. Have a good one. See you next week.
My favorite season.
Okay. Hey folks, thanks for watching. But now I need to ask you a favor. Tell me what you think of the show. Because this show is for you, the viewers. I'm just here to help bring the discussion to the table, if you will. Is there a topic you want to hear more about? Get on that social media and send me a message. On YouTube, write a comment below the video. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, or a thumbs down if you didn't. And click subscribe and stay in touch with future discussions. You can also post a message on our Facebook page at facebook.com//Oregon Voter Digest. I love you folks, and I'll see you next week. Take care.